Do you ever struggle to meet your protein goals on a plant-based diet? I totally get it. I know how that feels. It's so frustrating and it feels so complicated sometimes. But today I'm taking humble tofu and I'm transforming it into this smoky, spicy tofu chorizo. It's so good, so delicious. I love serving it on tacos. It's delicious in taco salads, burritos, nachos, you name it. It's just a wonderful recipe and it's just loaded with flavor. And believe it or not, it's pretty easy to make. So I'm going to show you how, and I can't wait. Let's get started. It begins with a sauce, and normally I make my sauce in the food processor, but today we're going to try something a little bit different, and we're going to make it using an immersion blender. So bear with me. Let's make sure this works. It starts with a couple of tablespoons of chili powder. I'm just going to pour that right in there. And I have a teaspoon of dried oregano. Now I have around a half teaspoon of, and I have around a tablespoon of smoked paprika. It doesn't want to come out. There we go. Now here I have a couple of tablespoons of, well, this is Bragg's liquid amino, but you could use tamari for a gluten-free version, or you can use soy sauce if you're not worried about gluten. And I have about a tablespoon, oh, this is maple syrup. Let's do that. Around a tablespoon of maple syrup. I have around a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar. That gives it a little bit of a tangy punch. I like that. And here I have, believe it or not, a quarter teaspoon of ground cloves. I love the kind of warm, spicy flavor they add. And this is an ingredient that is called cumin. I'm looking at Sean because sometimes he does not like cumin. So we're just adding, my recipe calls for 2 teaspoons and I'm just adding a teaspoon. Will that work, honey? He's like, I don't know about that. I'm gonna get those out of the way. And let's see, I also love to add a tablespoon of Mrs. Dash. Now, if you don't have this, it's got a nice Southwest Chipotle smoky kick to it. But if you would rather, you can also use a couple of the peppers out of, just this regular Chipotle. This is smoky chipotles. It adds wonderful flavor to just about everything. But I like to add, I feel like it's also got, the thing is, this stuff also has a lot of salt in it. And I like to get, this is salty enough. It's got plenty of salt. It's not hurting for salt. So I like to just give it a little bit of break by using that. And speaking of salt, my recipe calls actually for 3 tablespoons of tamari or liquid aminos or soy sauce, but I like to break it up and just use 2 tablespoons. And then what I'll do is add a tablespoon of miso paste. And this is actually red miso paste today. And I feel like this kind of breaks the sodium act up a little bit too. I don't know if you've heard this study, but miso paste is supposed to have a lower sodium load, and so that works out just fine. And then I also like to add some garlic to this recipe, and so I actually call for 3 cloves of garlic. But because we're grinding this up, it really isn't. This one's such a huge. Come on, baby. This is such a huge clove that I think it's really more like 2, but I'm just going to break it up. Normally I would just throw it in my food processor, but since I'm using the immersion blender, I feel like I'm experimenting with my own recipe. That's kind of fun. I love that. I love that feeling. And I also love getting my aggressions out on garlic. So if you ever have a day where you just, need to beat up on something, garlic is a great way to go. Do you ever feel like that? You just got to get your, no, Sean shakes his head. No, he never feels that way. Okay. Jennifer says, that looks yummy. I know, Jennifer. I think you're going to love it. I hope you give it a try. It's so good. So let's see how this works. I'm a little bit nervous about this. So I'm just going to put this in here. Oh, wait, I forgot something else. I also added just a few tablespoons of water. And I do that only because the water is going to cook out and I need this to be able to grind up really nicely. And sometimes the water is a great way of making that happen. So let's just there we go. Look at that. Look at that sauce. That's beautiful. Very nice. Okay, moving on to our tofu. Now, what I like to do is let's just set this aside, let those flavors kind of get to know each other a little better, and let's move on to the tofu. Now, if you are just using regular tofu, you're going to want to open it up first and put it in a tofu press and let some of that extra moisture come out of the tofu. Why? Because tofu is like a bland sponge. I'm a salesman for the tofu. But if you think about it that way, then we want to get rid of that excess liquid that's in as it's packed. And so we can replace it with the flavors. It will just soak up all those extra flavors that you've got. So that's why I like to soak it. However, I've been getting the tofu that they have at Costco lately, and what I love about it is already pressed. It's packed in liquid, but it's nice and firm. So it's just a wonderful thing. If you don't like pressing tofu, I highly recommend buying tofu that's already pressed. And this one is just a really good brand. So you put it straight into the skillet and just use like a potato masher to mash it. But what I like to do is another idea here is just to tear it apart with your fingers, and yet another way to get your aggressions out. If you've had a day where you just need to smash something, this is the recipe for you. Oh, Jennifer says, I love your top. Well, thank you, Jennifer. I'm so glad. I wish I could remember where. Oh, you know what? I think this is, oh my gosh. I can't think of the name of the brand. I'll think of it. I'll think of it. If I can't think of it, I'll put it in. I'll put it in the show notes. It was super cheap. I got it on clearance. Clearance is one of my favorite places. Anything on clearance is always good. Okay, so I'm just going to keep mashing this tofu. That's the goal here is, you know, we're basing this kind of off of the Mexican version of chorizo, which is more loose, whereas the Spanish version of chorizo, it's like sausage that's cured, and you get it, it's already cooked and ready to be served. But the Mexican version is more loose, and you have to cook it. And so, of course, you don't have to cook this version, but at the same time, this is what we're going for, is that kind of loose chorizo feel. So I think just a little bit of mashing with your fingers, all it takes. Just go to town. Just give it a nice smush. Okay, I think we're good here. That's pretty good. Now I'm going to add some olive oil to the skillet that I've got already heating, around a tablespoon. And then we're going to add this tofu in here, and what's going to happen is we're just going to cook it for a couple of minutes. Let's get that in there. Oh, listen to that. Nice. And if you see some big chunks in here, you can just use your spatula to break it down a little bit more. Or, like I say, you can get a potato masher, but this is a pretty nice size. I'm going to scoot everything over here. We're just cooking it down for a minute. You can cook this for a couple of minutes if you'd like, to brown it and maybe get it a little bit crispy. It works just fine that way. Or, just get it a nice little couple of seconds in the olive oil and let it sizzle a little bit. And then we're going to go ahead and add this sauce. Let's see how this goes. I wish you could smell this right now. It smells amazing. I'm going to go ahead and get a spatula in here because I want to get every last bit of that deliciousness that I can. And I'm just going to stir this around. And here's where you see that tofu sponge take effect, because this tofu is just going to soak up all of this flavor, and that's what we want it to do. We want it to just, soak it all up. Okay. Now, I have another thing that I do. You can serve this just exactly the way it is, but I like to add lentils because I feel like lentils adds a little bit more texture. It also adds fiber and a little bit more protein too. So I add around a cup and a half of lentils to the mix. Now I love tofu. However, it isn't loaded with fiber, so that's where we're going to get the fiber is from the lentils. And what I like to do is once it's in the mix here, I kind of use my spatula and just start smashing it a little bit. I feel like this adds a little bit more consistency to the tofu mixture as well. Just use your back of your spatula and we're just going to smash some of those lentils in. Oh, this smells amazing. It's just so good. This has around 200 calories per serving, and it also has around 17 grams of protein. How sweet is that? That is nice. So like I say at the beginning, if you're looking for ways to increase your protein, this is the way to do it because one setting with some nachos, you're going to get 17 grams of protein. How sweet is that? Now, before I serve it, I always love adding some chopped these are chopped cherry tomatoes. I mean, look at the color that adds. We eat with our eyes, so it's nice to have some color in the mix. And if I have jalapenos, I definitely love adding some jalapenos to the mix. But today I'm going to just add some chopped parsley. That just adds some beautiful color in there and just makes it look amazing. It looks so good, and it's just ready to eat. So if you have questions, you might be wondering, like, can I make this gluten-free? I have a surprise for you. This is already gluten-free. If you don't care about gluten, you would use soy sauce. But if you are worried about gluten, this is a gluten-free dish. Yay! And then I know this question is going to come up because some people love the spicy and other people don't. I personally love the spicy. I would personally be adding some some sriracha to this. Or, if you have jalapenos, I definitely would be adding some jalapenos to this mix. It would be so good. But typically what I do is I have sriracha on hand because maybe Sean doesn't like the spicy as much as I do. So I would definitely add sriracha to this. But if you don't like spicy at all, I would say leave this out. I do find this has a tad bit of a kick to it. Not much. I definitely would not be including these chipotle peppers. And so for your smoky flavor, what you're going to want to do is just use something like liquid smoke. That is the way you're going to get that smoky flavor without the kick. So that's what I would do if you really needed to be more bland. You're going to get all the flavors. There's so many spices in here. The next question I think you could have is, what about storing? So what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to store this in an airtight container in the fridge for probably 3 or 4 days. But you can also freeze this. So once this comes to room temperature, transfer it to a freezer safe container and it can freeze up to 3 months. I know tofu and freezing don't always work together, but I find once the tofu is pressed and it's been cooked like this, you can freeze it. There might change, the consistency of tofu can change a little bit once it's frozen, but this is still going to be very good in whatever you're serving. If it's a taco or whatever, this is going to be great. So that's another great reason to have this recipe on hand because it's perfect for meal prepping. Put it in your freezer, ready to go. Okay, I'm so excited by this dish. I don't know if you can see the steam coming off of this. It smells amazing, and I am ready to give it the good old taste test. I mean, let's put this recipe to the test, don't you think? Like, it's one thing to look at how beautiful it is, but it's quite another to actually give it the good old taste. So let's just do this. Okay, I'm gonna just get my chip in here. There we go. Look at that. That looks amazing. I'm going to give this a taste. Mm. Mm, mm, mm. That is so good. Mm. I love the smoky aroma. Mm. It's so good. It's got the spice and the smoke, and it's like I said, it's like tofu. It's got a little bit of swagger to it. It's so good. We love a little swagger, don't we? Yes. This is amazing. I love it. I really think it's something that can just transform your plant-based Taco Tuesday into something just amazing and easy to make too. We made this in under 30 minutes, so that's awesome. So I love it. I would love for you to leave a comment. Now it's your turn. Tell me how you would use this. Are you going to serve this over nachos? What about tacos? How are you going to serve this? I'm just dying to know. And I think Jennifer says, "I can't wait to make this." I'm with you, Jennifer. I can't wait to hear what you think about it. Give it a try. Leave a comment. I'd love to hear from you. Okay, that's it for today's recipe. Thanks for joining me. I really enjoyed having you in the kitchen with me today. I hope you had a good time too. Um, if you like today's recipe, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more recipes coming your way every week.